Look at that. How's it going, everybody? We are live on the Bharat Army podcast. We are discussing this week in the IPL. Welcome to everybody from around the world. If you're watching us, listening to us discuss this crazy week of IPL cricket. So, first things first, this week, a non cricket related issue, but the Bharat Army has teamed up with the British Asian Trust for the For India campaign. We are doing a charity campaign, an oxygen appeal for India. So please check out our social medias for all of the information about that and how you can donate to the cause and help out with the current situation in India. And we hope that everybody out there is staying safe, staying at home, and doing everything that you need to do to overcome this pandemic. Right, let's have a look at the table, shall we? Let's have a quick look at the table and see what's going on in this week of IPL cricket. As you can see, Chennai riding high at the top. Last 3 games on the bounce, 3 wins in a row. A little bit sketchy for everybody else in between, but we're going to be starting this week as we usually do, right at the bottom of the table, rock bottom, and it is the Sunrisers Hyderabad. And we're talking to Manish today about Sunrisers. Manish, how's it going? How are you feeling? How are you, Manish? Just talk to me. Tell me how you are.
Not the greatest of feelings. Absolutely, I'm disheartened by the start that we've got, and it's not a familiar feeling, right, for a Sunrisers Hyderabad fan being at the bottom for this long, because we have been a consistent side in the past as well. So definitely, it's a disappointing feeling because not a single department seems to have clicked for us thus far.
Yeah, it's been a pretty tough week, hasn't it? We haven't seen many smiles on the face of the owners this week. We haven't seen the camera zoom in on the close-ups and stuff like that. But tomorrow you've got a big game coming up against Rajasthan Royals. We're going to go over to Sanchit just after you because they're obviously just above you in the table. But battle of the bottom is never really fun for anybody. But what do you think you're going to need to do to overcome the Rajasthan Royals?
Well, I think we have to ball pretty well because in the previous game, I think we had our batting sorted out. Kane Williamson stepping up. David Warner, of course, has to up the ante, and I think he's understood that he has to bat a lot faster than he did in the previous match. So I think we have our batting sorted out with Manish Pandey coming back into form as well, and Kane Williamson showing his class, his brilliance time and time again. So I think the bowling is where we are lacking with the loss of Bhuvi and Nattu. Of course, it's something that is haunting us. And I hope Bhuvi is match fit. He's had issues with his leg once again. So if he comes in, his 4 overs will be crucial for us because Rashid Khan has been the lone warrior, fighting it out. He was the only guy in the wickets tally the previous time around when we faced Chennai. So hopefully Bhuvi comes in and the likes of Khalil Ahmed, Siddharth Kaul get their lines and lengths right and vary their pace, and hopefully that is one thing we can work on. And also our catching and our fielding, I should say, has been poor. We haven't shown the amount of intensity that is expected of us on field. We have fumbled with the ball in our hands. So hopefully we can work on these 2 things, and it should be accounted for a good fight against the Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah, I don't like to harp on about batting strike rates and stuff like that. I kind of think that like strike rates are the most boring conversations that you could possibly ever have, if I'm being completely honest. And I don't like to blame defeats on strike rates. But David Warner, that was difficult to watch.
Well, it was really painful, and he steadied the ship in the first 6 overs. He made sure that we didn't lose wickets, but in the middle is where he had to explode because he was out there set batting at around striking at around 120, but it went down a lot. I think at the end of the innings he was striking somewhere around 108, 110, if I'm not wrong. So I think he had to make sure that he got those runs in the middle where we have faced a lot of problems in the past as well. In the middle overs is where SRH seem to lose matches every time, be it with the ball or be it with the bat in hand. I think that is one phase where we have to focus and change our plans, and hopefully David Warner works on his team combination and his batting order in particular. I don't think Manish Pandey should be coming in at 3. I think Kane Williamson deserves to be there, and Manish Pandey can sort of come down the order and make sure that he plays a finishing role like he does for India as well, coming in at five. So maybe that responsibility can be shared by an experienced campaigner like Manish, and alongside our young guns, he can fire at the end.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, tomorrow's game against the Rajasthan Royals. Let's go one up in the table and go over to Sanjit, the Rajasthan Royals, and you finally got a victory under your belt in the last match. But still, the season not going the way you probably would have hoped.
Well, I wish we got a victory in the last match because we lost it against Mumbai Indians. But yeah, it's like Manish has said that it is an unfamiliar sight for his team to be at the bottom of the table. Unfortunately, it's a familiar sight for us to be languishing in the bottom half of the table since 2019. So same old stories repeating once again. The inconsistency is back on, and yeah, it was good to win against KKR because we haven't won against them in a long time. So but to back that up with that performance against Mumbai Indians was pretty disappointing. But there were a lot of positives to come out of that game because we know that it is currently a depleted side, and honestly, as fans, we can't expect this team to do miracles each and every time because this league is really competitive in this season. So all we could expect is at least a fight because after that performance against RCB, to come back with that performance in against KK, I think that was really a good side. But I really want as a Rajasthan Royals fan, I would really like to see consistent performances with the ball as well. So it's really disappointing to have one loss and then one victory kind of performances since the last season. But really happy with how the top order played against Mumbai Indians. I think it was good to see Josh Butler amongst the runs. Thought he could score a little bit more like he used to do earlier, but I think it's been ages. I think around 2000 or 3000 years since we did not lose a wicket in the power play. So that was at least something positive to see. And it's also good to see Sanju Samson back amongst the runs, playing a more responsible kind of knock. But really hope that as a team we start to click together because as an optimistic fan, I would still not rate this season as finished. As of now, I still believe that we could spark a comeback just like how Punjab did in the last season. But plenty of things to work upon before that.
I mean, you're a very optimistic man, I must say, Sanchit, because, as you say, it's a very depleted side, a little bit like Sunrisers, to be honest, with the amount of injuries that you have this season. Obviously, you're saying that you hope, you can spark a comeback and make a late surge like Punjab did last season in the table. But realistically, I know you believe because as a Rajasthan Royals fan, you have to believe. But realistically, are you going to be able to create that surge with all of these injuries, especially to the big name players as well, like Jofra and Ben Stokes?
Well, realistically, I would certainly hope us to do that, to do at least something similar to what we did in 2018, because we didn't see team performance carrying us to the playoffs in 2018. It was all on the bank of Josh Butler's heroics in the last 6 or 7 games. So, hoping to see something kind of a similar, because as a team, we are not together right now because of all the injuries that we are facing. And now, just with 4 overseas in the team and five, I think if Rassi has indeed joined the team but is still in quarantine. So, I really don't see a realistic chance to get in the top four. But if an individual player could inspire the team to perform well, just like how Josh did in 2018, then maybe there is a chance. But before that, we really need to work upon the Indian players need to step up big time. Well, in the last game, I was disappointed with the way how some of the Indian players have batted. It's unfair to blame the loss entirely on someone like Shivam Dubey because I believe it was mainly the management's decision which was a failure rather than blaming it on the entire player because Shivam Dubey is a great player of spin but he's not being worked well against pace. So it was really unfair to put him above someone like David Miller or even Chris Morris, who was striking the ball well in this particular season. So I think these kind of key decisions are costing us just like it costed us in the last season. So I hope as the management also rectifies all these mistakes, and as a team we carry ourselves together because tomorrow it's a big match against Sunrise Hyderabad, and you never want to face yet another struggling side because they will be coming all out against you, and we don't have a decent record against Hyderabad in the recent years. So it's going to be a really interesting battle. And Rashid Khan, man, I really don't know what to make of that player. He's is simply phenomenal. So I really hope that the Indian players in the side could manage to play the spin well because I don't want to see something similar of what happened against CSK happening again tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, the thing I love about IPL is that even if you're down and out at the bottom of the table, you can still have a defining role in how the rest of the table shapes up. We had a comment just now on our chat from Pranav, who has said that Rajasthan Royals now can only spoil other teams' parties for the playoffs, and that's the points table at the moment and how it's all shaping up. So you never know. Rajasthan Royals and Hyderabad might yet hold some cards in their pockets. So going up the table now, let's go over to Abhijit for Kolkata Knight Riders, and they're another team who are looking like a shadow of their former self from last year. Abhijit, again, not the greatest of years this year for Kolkata Knight Riders.
Yeah, I mean, we have not clicked as a batting unit completely. There has been an issue in the top order, like at the point only one batsman is clicking, and Rahul Tripathi is getting starts, but he's not converting it big. I mean, we can't blame any of them either because they are still the youngsters. But our middle order, which is rich in experience, someone like Dinesh Karthik, Owen Morgan, who is a World Cup winning captain, everyone is discussing about him, and Andre Russell. So, I mean, if your team is blessed with such great finishers, then you are expected to do well. You are expected to close in with 180 or 200 kind of scores every now and then, even if there is a collapse. But for that, your batting order has to be fixed. The batting order has to be like bang on. It's not like chopping and changing every time. I mean, still, I do feel that the experiment with Sunil Narin should be over now because he has been. I mean, other teams has already found his difficulty. Like he is a little not easy against the top. Sorry, against the bouncers and all. I mean, in the last to last match against Punjab, I mean, we saw Mohammad Shami doing that from the very first ball. So it is not looking good at the moment for KKR in terms of their batting. Bowling has been little improved in the last few matches, but again, in the last match, Prithvi Shaw completely demolished us, and that also looked. I can see Ahan laughing. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, but I mean, that was the only positive from last season that our bowling used to be clicking. But that also from last match it became completely out of shape. And somehow, I mean, I'm a fan. I'm supposed to talk positive, but the fielding. Whenever the ball is going towards Sunil Narin or Andre Russell, they are not even chasing, and it's very difficult sight to see. You can see someone like Fab du Plessis or Rabindra Jadeja winning their match from nowhere, not nowhere. They are, although I mean, they are capable of turning their sides fortune with one direct hit or a good catch. But we have only seen someone like Rahul Tripathi doing that for KKR. I'm simply saying I miss Rinku Singh on the field. That was the kind of impact he has. But KKR is also lagging a little bit sloppy on their fielding and fielding position also. So unfortunately, nothing is looking right at the moment for us. But we are a side rich in history. We have done this earlier, and if we win the next one against RCB, that will cause a great imbalance in the points table, and the bottom half and top half, the margin will be thin if we win that in that match. And really hopeful, and hopefully we can turn our fortune in the next match.
Abhijit, can I ask you about that World Cup winning captain for a moment, Owen Morgan? Because I just feel like he's starting to lose the plot a little bit. In the last match, he obviously had a small total to defend against Delhi Capitals. Why did he not open the bowling with Pat Cummins?
I strongly don't know because we are only putting him as a World Cup winning captain. But I hate to say this, but his records in India is not like one of that of a World Cup winning captain. He had performed for us really good in 2013, but in terms of his captaincy, yes, I mean we are the side that witnessed how to defend a lower total when we used to have a spin friendly tracks. Our I mean, I hate to bring on again that person. Gautam Gambhir used to wear the helmet and put two slips, one gully, and we are whenever we are defending a small total, hardly one slip, and there are no fielders in the catching position. I mean, that's really unfortunate to see from KKR. But there could be a chance like the spinner. I mean, if you are opening with a spinner, I mean, you could get wickets. But with when you have Cummins and really like pace bowlers, maybe because of his previous experience or a previous, and because Shivam Mavi was in the team with Prithvi Shaw, so there could be a trick point like, or any Owen Morgan would have thought like this guy must be knowing some weakness of Prithvi Shaw, but that did not happen. So yes, I mean we are not utilizing our right resources right places. You want, I mean, any team I can, if we open the bid for Andre Russell at the moment, there will be teams who will make him open. I mean, I can say it on guarantee, but KKR is utilizing after 17th over. KKR is
Mm.
not utilizing their primary fast bowlers in the power play. So God knows what is happening with the KKR. Really, some bold decisions has to be taken, and if this is going to be like this, then I don't see even Owen Morgan being retained for the next season.
Yeah, strong words. We've got Ahan coming in for a quick comment. Ahan, what's your thoughts on KKR?
I just wanted to ask Abhijit one thing because I was watching a show recently and I saw like this analysis that about KKR, which said that maybe the reason that KKR are not doing too well is because their captain and coach are so similar and they get along so much that like there's not enough disagreement and challenging the other's thoughts. And I think the person who was speaking about it was talking like giving past experiences about how when Gambhir was captain, like the whole Narayan decision came out because he disagreed with the coach. There was an argument about it, and then there was constructive like criticism on both sides, and then they came up with the decision. But Morgan and McCullum, as it's been documented, are so similar that maybe there's just not, they just agree with one another, whatever the situation, and they go along with it rather than one disagreeing with the other. So what do you think, Abhijit?
I strongly feel like Morgan is, I mean, KKR is a side which gives like 100% freedom to their captain. It's your team, make it or break it. They use their statement a lot. And I do agree with you because if you see, there was already a well capable analyst in our team that was A.R. Srikanth, but Owen Morgan brought the England team, national English team analyst into the squad as well. So KKR has shown that faith in Owen Morgan that look, you are the captain, you can run our side and do whatever you want to do. But yes, I mean I mean sometimes it should come from the coach. Like hardly any team is there who will play with the same playing 11 after losing 4 matches. Still, that is happening for KKR. I mean, Loki Ferguson is. I saw some comment. Loki Ferguson has been logged. Yes, he has been logged. And Karun Nair, I mean, if your top three is not working, if they are not uh, providing like 100 runs in an innings, then it is like little bit times to change. I mean, you should fix what has been broken. If for that matter, if you have to drop Gill, then 1 or 2 matches we have to drop. We have done the same with Kuldeep. That guy has not yet gained the confidence. Forget in the KKR
Well,
team, in the India
Well,
team.
Abhijit, last season, I think it was a weekly thing with me and Ahan that we had a weekly discussion about Prithvi Shaw and, how bad his form was and stuff. We haven't really talked about Shubman Gill that much on this weekly podcast, I feel, so far. What has happened to Shubman Gill? Because, at one point he was India's next hope and, in Australia he played really well, but now he's just completely gone off the boils.
What I feel is he was criticized a lot for his lower strike rate. You mentioned about lower strike rate in previous few minutes back. I mean, what I could understand from his point of view is he had made a statement that he went to Yuvraj Singh and he prepared him for the short balls against Australian and he did well. So as he's still young, like in early 20s, he could have thought like it's time to increase the strike rate and become that three-dimensional player which everyone loves. So there could be chance like he might have changed his approach. And if you look at his approach, he's not the same Superman Gill which you used to see for national side or KKR side in previous season. He was playing in the front. He was playing the classical old cover drives and all. But right now he's looking to go from the ball one. Mohammad Shami literally made him look miserable in the last match. He
Yep.
could hardly forget about middling. He could hardly connect. But someone like Shubman Gill and Prithvi Shaw, Virat Kohli, when we talk about these people, they are the one who has like a solid techniques. But Shubman Gill, I mean, what I feel is if he's thinking he will score a 50 ball 100, then it has to take time. He has to do what he is supposed to do, like in the match against, there was a match when Owen Morgan won us. In that match, 140 ball, 60 or 65 could have made his confidence boost up so well that he could have taken that time in the middle to the next match and used that as a thing to again magnify his performance. But he's not doing well. But on a positive side, what I can see is last year, Prithvi Shaw was dropped as well. He was also in the same. He's also in the same rank as Subman Gill. So
Correct,
KKR
yeah.
management could take a bold decision to drop him and bring Karun Nair, because sometimes dropping someone brings a better person of that player. So if that has to be done, then it is the right time actually. But if it will be done soon, I won't be surprised.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Kolkata Knight Riders. We'll have to keep an eye on them and see what happens to them later on in this tournament. See if they can make a late surge. I tell you who is making a late surge, though, and that is the Punjab Kings, or should I be calling them the Punjab Comeback Kings? Because they are starting to make this slow surge back up to the top four, possibly. Let's see if they can bridge that gap between them and Mumbai Indians at some point. Obviously, Mumbai Indians have got a game in hand. But let's see whether they can do that. Anmol, what a victory that was against RCB yesterday. And before I start, can I also just say, Anmol and Dia, I want you to be nice to each other on this podcast. Okay, this is not Tommy Sanders' show. We promote love, peace, and happiness on this show. So Anmol, what did you make of that victory yesterday?
Yeah, I was very happy after that victory. I was feeling very confident that we have won against RCB, such a good team this year, consistent team this year. They have been performing like like CSK and MI does every year. But I would say that after that win, against that win, I was also more happy about Maxi getting out on zero. I was not happy about. I was actually not very happy about that win, but I was actually happy about that Maxi getting out. After that, I was jumping and I switched off my laptop, and my family was like, "क्या हो गया? आराम से." I told them
Oh, dear.
that
It
you
was
will
an
not
exciting
understand my
moment.
feeling. Yeah, exciting, and that too Punjabi guy Harpreet Brar was so exceptional
I tell you what,
yesterday.
Harpreet Brar yesterday got Virat Kohli, he got Glenn Maxwell and AB de Villiers. And on top of that, the partnership with Ravi Bishnoi, the twin spin partnership that they have, I've got a name for them. Do you want to hear my name? Because they like to flight the ball, right? And, their names are Brar and Bishnoi, Airbnb, eh? What do you think about that
Yeah,
partnership? Airbnb. That's a great nickname
yeah,
for them, isn't
great,
it?
great, great. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Naresh, what do you think about my
No,
nickname?
yeah, nickname is good, but your concern of Indian spinners, you should leave that concern aside. I think they were phenomenal yesterday.
Yes, I have been saying for a long time there is a
Yeah.
crisis happening in Indian cricket with white ball limited over spinners, and perhaps Ravi Bishnoi and Harpreet Brar, if he continues on this form, are the answer to those problems. Anmol, there's obviously a lot that's been said about KL Rahul and his strike rate. Tell us what you thought about KL Rahul's innings yesterday. Very nearly scored a century, a true captain's innings.
Actually, I would say that now there is a full stop on that argument that KR Rahul said that the strike rates are overrated, and that argument was gone in the podcast too. But you have to see our performance of the middle order, man. Our middle order didn't perform yesterday. And do you think that KR Rahul should come all guns blazing? If he came, then 100 will also be not in our game. 100 will be very tough to be made because Shahrukh gone, and then Deepak Hooda not performing well, and then Chris Gale and KL Rahul, what both they can do. I don't understand that. Everyone was saying that KL Rahul, but you have to see on David Warner. David Warner also played on very slow strike rate. I think the one in the orange cap list above 150 is Prithvi Shaw. I think so. He has a strike rate of 165, and everyone else is below 140. And there are many openers in that list too.
Well, let's just take a look at the orange cap table for a minute, because obviously we mentioned KL Rahul, and KL Rahul has found himself at the top of that points table at the moment. Look at that, 331 runs that he scored, overtaking Shikhar Dhawan yesterday, who's on 311. So KL Rahul, right back where he was last season. And yeah, a lot of talk that was happening about his strike rate and stuff. But, he showed a true captain's innings yesterday. Now, Anmol, you mentioned the middle order. Nicholas Buran, I think, might be one of the names that you might be looking at to possibly drop at some point soon, because he has been really struggling this season.
Yes, I think Abhijit also nearly mentioned that dropping a player can help him out too. And I would say that we should drop Puran and get Malan in for a game or a couple of games. We should get in Malan. I think he will help us to solve the middle order problem, and I think that he would solve it. I have no words that there his performance will define that. Will he able to do this or not?
Yes, indeed. We will have to keep an eye on Punjab Kings. They are making their late surge, and we might have to see whether they can make a comeback. Anmol, what are your hopes now for this tournament? You think that you'll be able to make that last-minute surge to get that number 4 position?
Yeah, before hopes, I would say that there were some fans who were talking about that bowling. We don't have any bowling. They RCB have purple cap. I think the purple Patel they have in their team, but saddened to know that orange cap thrashed the purple cap yesterday. I think yes, Herschel Patel also gave us many runs in last over. I think, but after that, who knows that KL Rahul will win this orange
Who
cap versus
knows?
purple cap.
Yes, who knows? He may claim the orange cap, and will he claim the IPL title? That's the question that Anmol's got on the top of his head at the moment. So now, going ahead to the table, if we just have a quick look at the points table, next in the table, we have the five-time winners, the Mumbai Indians, who are having troubles of their own this season. I think it's fair to say that, they've not had the best of seasons this year, but, by virtue of the fact that the other teams have kind of played pretty badly as well. The 4 underneath them, so they find themselves at that number 4 position. 1-3, lost 3. Okay, we'll have to see what our friend Naresh has to say about them. My good pal Naresh, the man with the smoothest voice in the whole of the Bharat Army, is back. Naresh, what do you make of this season for Mumbai Indians? It's been a real up and down, like a roller coaster.
Yeah, and one thing which came out good in the last game was that the problems were limited to Chennai, but you need to adapt to the conditions. Batting lineup not doing well, considering the conditions, is not reflecting well on how good this side is. But one thing is good on the last game, very surprising move of dropping Ishan Kishan and getting a bowler, which has given good result, but it was on the positive side, giving challenge to other batsmen. Okay, now we are getting into a better surface. You guys go and score. And they did well to chase it. A long way to go. The potential of coming back. They've done it in the past. Yes, not full potential playing as a champion yet, but 3-all good enough take. It could have been 5-0 in Chennai in both ways, either lost all or won all. So close were the games, and all the time the bowlers, kind of getting you out of the problem will not work. The batsmen have to contribute. Good to see Quinton de Kock do well in the last game. I was not that convinced that after the first game of Chris Lynn, he was not again considered. But yeah, it's good to see Quinton de Kock coming back in form. Rohit Sharma giving good starts, but getting out at the end of power play or just when the power play is over, he needs to go deep. Surya Kumar Yadav, we all agree the kind of talent that guy has, but he has to live up to that reputation. Last year, he did make a comment that his role is to bat deep. We haven't yet seen it. He hasn't gone beyond the 11th over in these 6 games. That needs to be seen. When he comes out, he needs to go back only when the inning ends. That should be the approach. Good to see Krunal Pandya get a little bit of a knock, but his bowling has been concerned. Last game also, he was bowling too short. But the good thing about bowling is Rahul Chahar has been exceptional this year. He's got 11 wickets in 6 games. He's looking one of a very good spinners. Mumbai is putting faith on. Bumrah and Bolt, as usual, are doing well in the depth. So bowling is well taken care of. You add Cotton Isle to make it more strong. But today's game is very important. You're playing against CSK, who Mumbai loves to beat. 18-12 is a very good head-to-head record, but Chennai's performance this year is exceptional. They are right there at the top. They are consistent. So winning today will give that boost that, okay, going ahead, they're going to make huge strides ahead in this league. But yeah, the next games in Delhi and a couple of them in Bangalore, they're playing against the current bottom four who are struggling. So that can be a bit of a relief. But yes, Rohit Sharma would be looking at today's game very closely to get a win. Very important for Rohit himself also to do well in the game.
Yes, indeed. It's the El Clasico of the IPL today. Mumbai Indians versus the Chennai Super Kings. Oof, that fixture always sends a shiver up my spine. It's going to be great. Comments flying in as you would expect from a discussion about Mumbai Indians. We just saw a comment from Ronak a little while ago saying the 21-year-old Chahar is single-handedly leading the Mumbai Indians bowling attack. Legend in the making. Naresh, there's a comment that came in from Saurabh a little while ago,
Yeah.
Saurabh Desai, saying Mumbai need to decide on Hardik Pandya. Can he retain his place only on batting? Naresh, what is going on with Hardik Pandya in this team?
Yeah, so again, it's coming down to, everyone was struggling in Chennai, and I think that is where they are, kind of discounting the fact that it is nothing to do with form, it is the conditions. He didn't get to bat in the last game in Delhi, so probably he'll definitely get a game in today also. Yes, they have been playing with 3 overseas in the last 2 games in Chennai. They could have looked at Jimmy Nation to replace Hardik, but I think the confidence Rohit has in this lineup and Hardik and Pollard playing as finishers, don't see that happening of Hardik not playing a game unless he really fails now in Delhi. So yeah, it's debatable. Is it really the form or the conditions? We'll get to know when he gets to bat. But in the field, obviously, he has made those differences so far. But yeah, one cannot be retained on the basis of fielding. But he carries a reputation of a finisher. He can really be destructive on his day.
Yes, and obviously let's kind of be a little bit psychic at the moment and look forward to the future just a little bit for now. If Mumbai don't win the IPL this year, if they don't get that 6th title under their belt, do you see any wholesale changes happening between now and next season? Do you think that the Ambani family is going to chop and change anything in this team?
No, I don't see that. In the end, we need to see what they have contributed so far. It has happened even in the past. They won a trophy, and the next year they haven't done well. But 5 titles, being there at the top, probably one of the most, not only the expensive team from the valuation perspective, even the kind of players they have given to India in at least the T20 format. So you need to reward them. There is no way it's going to matter whether they're going to retain the trophy now or no. But yeah, it's going to be that they will be the most wanted players going in the mega auction. So and that is where it matters. Their performance decides the valuation. And these guys have proven in the past. Yes, I would like to see Ishan Kishan come back soon. There was a comment from Drupad on Jayant Yadav. Probably, yeah, soon Ishan would replace him back. But to be fair, the couple of games Jayan got, he has done well, especially in Chennai. Even with the bat, he got a 20 plus. So yeah, these players are proud of where they belong to in this franchise. They are the best side. Everyone wants to beat them. That is one thing there. So yeah, I don't think there would be much changes. If they can retain most of them, definitely they will go for it.
Yes, indeed. Well, I tell you what, next season, the Gujarat Lions will be happy to take the Pandya brothers off your hands. Thank you very much. So, moving up to the table, and gasp, shock, horror, the team that was number 1 last week now finds themselves at number 3. It is RCB, Royal Challengers Bangalore. They're on 10 points, so nothing to worry about just now. There's not much between those top 3, but we've got Dia on the podcast this week, making her IPL weekly debut this season. Dia, the last match was quite the defeat. against Punjab Kings, and the net run rate has gone for a toss as well. What's your take on this last week for RCB?
Well, I would say when we were playing in Chennai, the conditions were different and that were quite in favor for us. But this time we are playing in Ahmedabad, and I guess change in conditions have got a change in fortune maybe for us. I would say, first of all, coming to the match against Chennai, that was our first defeat of this tournament. Well, the two matches that we have lost have been like one-sided, and the one that we won against Delhi was like, I would say that was just out of luck, and we actually won the big moment. I would say we actually won that big moment. I would say it was not like we earned it; it was just that we got it. So, to be honest, I was not happy with the performance, the way we have delivered. But I would say AB de Villiers has been the only person, the only batsman who has been, performing for us this entire season. If we see his records in the slog overs, he has been striking up like 230, 240, a strike rate of that. So that is great to see. But what about the other batsmen? What are they doing? So Virat Kohli's
What are
form
they
has
doing,
been.
Dia? Tell me, what are they doing?
I wish I also knew that, but it's just like when AB de Villiers just gets out, it's like we all just lose hopes. It is just like that, and Virat Kohli's form has been an issue for us. Devdutt Padikkal is being inconsistent. Maybe it's that pressure that everyone was like like last time his strike rate was not that great, so he's trying to strike the ball very initially only, and that's why he's getting out. And maybe that is costing us. And Rajat Patidar, of course, the way we saw him batting last time was just so bad to see. And our bowling this time, for a change, was doing a great job. But many people have been saying that Herschel Patel has been getting wickets, just out of luck, and because the people like batsmen just try to slog him, and he just gets wickets. So I would say, well, currently he's the purple cap holder, but stats doesn't matter. It's how you win those key moments. And I would say Harshal Patel, if like people haven't noticed, he has delivered, like he has the record along with Shardul Thakur of delivering most number of dot balls in death overs, that is like 23. So you cannot blame him entirely for that. But more than Harshal Patel, I'm happy with the way Siraj has been bowling. His wide Yorkers have been absolutely brilliant. And as we said, that I was saying that the Delhi match that we won, it was actually because of him as well, because if we might have lost that match. So Siraj has been a big plus for us, but I think if we have got a good bowling depth, we are lacking in our batting because we haven't got much batsmen to deliver for us. So we need bowling depth, but that is costing our batting. So there's a bit of issue with the I would say overall balance.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'll tell you what we're not going to do on this show, and that is say anything bad about Herschel Patel, because RCB will probably make us take this video down, and we can't have that. So I said, comments flying in once we were talking about the Mumbai Indians, but my goodness me, they are flying in now with RCB. What is it about RCB? I don't understand this. What emotion is it that RCB brings out in other IPL fans that like everybody has something to say about them? Anyway, we had a few comments coming in talking about the negative net run rate. And I suppose that that's going to be the biggest problem really going ahead, isn't it? Because the net run rate, because the two defeats have been so heavy, that the net run rate is something which later on in the tournament is going to be a real problem for you.
Well, in the last match we saw we were losing pretty badly. Maybe it would have been like 80 odd runs defeat for us. But Harshal Patel was the savior for us, the one who went for runs, scored runs for us in the end, like a quick fire 31 odd runs of 13 balls. So that kind of saved us. But I still like the damage is still done. So I hope the next match against KKR, if we are able to bring up our net run rate up, that will be great. But I would say, yeah, the two defeats that we have faced have been just completely one-sided. It was just like we just couldn't even put up a fight. So that was very bad to see that we didn't fight against Chennai or Punjab. We just gave up. It felt like that. So that's not how a table topper team performs. So I really want them to come together as a batting and a bowling unit and perform collectively.
And last question to you, Dia. I hate to talk about this subject, but obviously with RCB, we have to talk about it pretty much every week. Virat Kohli is not playing particularly well right now. And I think with all of us, even the teams who are playing against RCB, they love to win, but when Virat Kohli plays badly, some of us, especially the ones who are still wearing this jersey, get a little bit nervous and start to think, oh, what's going on here? So, Dia, what are you making of Virat Kohli's form at the moment?
Um, yeah, as I said, it's not just one batsman. I don't know why we are just talking about Virat Kohli. There are other 5 batsmen as well who are performing. There is Maxwell, there is Rajat Patidar, there is Devdutt Padikkal. They all also need to step up. Your captain is not always going to do it for us. It's just he's the Indian captain. He has got that stature, so we all expect from him to deliver. But I feel that the last performance that he gave was of like he scored 70 runs against Rajasthan. That was the only 50 that he has got so far, and it's so bad to see that he's not even up there in the among the orange cap holders. So that is very bad to see. But I would say the whole batting unit needs to fire. And Virat Kohli's form, we all really thought that as he's going to open, everyone was so happy. Me as an RCB fan was, I was so happy that maybe if he'll open, that might lead to us, maybe winning the trophy, or him being again the orange cap holder, like that happened back in 2016. But I would say, like last time in the match against Punjab, I think it was Rajat Patidar, the way he was batting, that led to Virat Kohli playing that kind of shot. And maybe he was foxed. I would give complete credit to the bowler as well, Harpreet Brar, the way he bowled. He foxed Virat Kohli with his length. That was very good to see. And of course, his struggles against spinners has been there. I will definitely accept that. But of course, it's okay. I feel that it's still just 7 matches that we have played. There's still halfway tournament that is yet to be played. So I hope he carries his form, like he gets back into form and delivers for us if we qualify for the playoffs. So
yes, indeed. RCB, is this going to be their year? Is it not going to be their year? The question that many philosophers smarter than me have not yet been able to answer. Moving up in the table now, and we're going back to Delhi Capitals, who are second in the table at the moment. And coming off a victory as well. They had a loss before that, but they're back on winning terms now. Ahan, usually when we come to you on the podcast, you're kind of like third in the table. Now you're second. Not quite breathing down Chennai's neck just yet, because they've obviously got a game in hand that they're playing against Mumbai Indians today. But what have you made of this past week for Delhi Capitals?
I've only come on the podcast as third once. The whole of last season it was first or second. So
stop living in the past. We are in 2021 now.
Those are my lines. Don't use them against me. Anyway, no, I think it was a pretty good week. It would have been a better week if we had beaten RCB. I think we messed up that game. As Dia said, I don't think RCB won that game. Delhi lost that game because honestly, on 99 days out of 100, Rishabh Pant will not give you an innings of 58 or 48. He's a much better batsman than that. And I know you've had a conversation with 3 different teams about strike rates being overrated. But I think in that particular situation, he played an innings. I understand the argument that he had to bat slightly conservatively because there were wickets falling and our batting lineup isn't the deepest. But that doesn't mean you bat you cannot enter the last over 48 or 46. There is no T20 match that justifies you entering a last over 48 or 46. And I guess it's just like he did try and hit it, but it wasn't coming off. But apart from that, I think it was a pretty good week. As Ponting was saying, we hadn't played our perfect game. I think that came up against KKR. We bowled really well. Even at the death, we bowled pretty well. It's just that a couple of the Yorkers went to full tosses and Russell managed to hit them. And then the batting, my God, Prithvi Shaw just absolutely wrecked Shivam Mavi. And from there, it was good fun, good times.
Yeah, let's talk about that first over that Prithvi Shaw faced in that Kolkata Knight Riders match. That was some sublime batting going on there. Maybe the bowling wasn't the best you've ever seen, but still, like I said, we talked about Prithvi Shaw a lot last season, practically every week, and talking about his lack of form. But he came really good in that last match.
Yeah, there's 2 topics of conversation that you loved pestering me about last year, which have gone off, which are Rishabh Pant and the Wicketkeeper League and Prithvi Shaw, because now suddenly they're both doing well. So now you're not talking to me about them. But anyway,
I think there is no debating the Wicketkeepers League anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I think
that was the last season debate.
I think Prithvi Shaw has clearly worked on his game. He's going back and across now instead of going backing away. And I think that's really changing him because it's opened up everything, the whole field for him, and he's hitting shots all around the ground. He's measuring his back, so he's changing his bat speed. He's not going at the same speed all the time. And I think he's really one of the packages that have come out of the season. He's boosted his stock tremendously, and I think he's very close to knocking on the India door as well now. And just one thing, I don't think Pranav is right that Delhi has surprised everyone. Everyone expected, like, Delhi from the beginning has had a good team. The Iyer's captaincy was okay. Iyer going out was an issue, but I think if you look at the team that Delhi has, if they can deal with Iyer going out, Ashwin going out, and I think one thing we have to speak about is Lalit Yadav. He's come in and he's been absolutely brilliant. Like he's hit runs, he's taken wickets. He's just doing everything for the team, and I think it's brilliant because he's an all-round package, and him and Akshar Patel are not only lengthening the batting order, they're also giving a bit of bite to the spin bowling department.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and have you allowed yourself the time to dare to dream yet this year? And obviously, we know that Shreyas Iyer, your usual captain, is not around. But do you think that this could be your year?
I dared to dream the minute Pant was elected captain because I just had a feeling that this is Pant's year, and whatever he touches turns to gold. So I'm going on that theory. I don't know about the cricket. I'm believing in the philosophy behind it. I know Rishi will have things to say about this, but I think I believe in Pant.
Okay, well, yeah, let's see if we can believe whether Pant will lift the IPL title this week. Now,
not this week. Next year.
Oh, not this week. This season. This season.
Yeah, this
season.
season.
Not this week. Gosh, if he lifted it this week, that would be some taken. So top of the table. And I said that last week when RCB were top of the table, that last year we only ever had two teams at the top of the table, and that was Mumbai and Delhi, and they were basically duking it out with themselves. Well, we have another new team on top of the table for the second week in a row. It is the Chennai Super Kings. They are back. They are roaring into form, and they have gone 5 wins in a row, and they look absolutely lethal. And this week, talking about the Chennai Super Kings, we have our resident celebrity back, Rishi Chabra, host of Chat with Chabra on the Bharat Army. How you doing, Rishi?
All good, Ashish. Feels good to be back, and even better when we're top of the table. Can't get better than this.
Tell us all your thoughts then about CSK in this past week and just overall this season, how the team is just molding up at the moment.
I think, pretty happy with where we are, given the fact that, what happened with us last year. It wasn't long back, probably 6-7 months back, and the memories are still fresh, and the trolling that we got, the hate that we got from fans all over the world, that, Chennai Super Kings done, it's the end of an era. We didn't qualify for the playoffs for the first time. So I think both the captain and the management had a point to prove. And I think pretty happy with where we are right now. Like I said, the unit, the entire unit looks pretty well settled. Honestly speaking, I've never seen Chennai Super King bat so well in any other previous seasons of the IPL. If you look at our batting department, I think we have a long batting lineup. The only concern that I have right now is our bowling department. We've been leaking a lot of runs, especially the likes of, Shardul Thakur, who was the pick of the bowler in the England series, in the T20 series, but he hasn't performed to his capability in the IPL. We've seen him, get a few wickets in the game against RCB, but then he had an opportunity to improve his economy. But overall, I'm not really, satisfied with the bowling lineup that we have, especially in the pace department. So I'm hoping that we look into that. We rectify our mistakes, we fill those missing pieces of the puzzle, and a big game coming up for today, Mumbai Indians. So it's going to be an interesting day today for us.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And obviously, I try to keep, one eye on the IPL and one eye on the national team. As you can see, these are my colors on this weekly podcast every week. Gaikwad, how far is Gaikwad away from an India call-up?
Ashish, pretty soon to say that, he should be given an opportunity in the Indian cricket team. There are a lot of players waiting who, haven't even got an opportunity into the playing 11. They've been made a part of the playing 15, but they're still waiting. But I think Gaikwad still has a long way to go. we saw how dicey his opening few games were for Chennai Super King, but lately he's proved his mettle. I think if you look at someone like Rituraj Gaikwad, if you see him in a normal outfit, you won't actually think of him scoring those big runs and hit those big sixes and boundaries. But when he dons the Chennai jersey and the way he's played, proved. But I think if he has a good remaining IPL, he will definitely get a call, and only time will tell whether he'll don that Indian jersey or not.
Yeah, Rishi, I want to ask you one other question, which is that last year on Isha Acton's channel, big up Isha, how's it going? Hope you're good out there. I predicted that CSK were going to win the IPL last year. That did not happen, and they finished near the bottom of the table, making me look ridiculous in the process. But they are back at the top of the table this year, because this is kind of how I knew the team were capable of playing. That didn't happen last year. So from your perspective, what happened last year?
See, I mean, every year when the IPL happens, all the teams actually, in the bidding process, they bid for players who they think that will suit their local playing conditions. So Chennai Super Kings, they thought the team that they had will actually be very helpful in Chepuk slow pitch, but that didn't happen. The IPL moved from India to UAE. And then obviously we had the COVID thing that happened with the players. It was an unsettled playing 11. Suresh Raina, the likes of Harbhajan Singh opting out. So all those things actually play with your thought process. So many things happening with so much all of a sudden. I think that dented CSK's chance. And we saw when they actually started to get going towards the later half of the tournament. They did win some pretty good games, and they ruined Raj's party in the last game. But I think that we left out those key players missing, and then all that happened around the Chennai camp at the beginning of the IPL.
So basically, what you're saying, in other words, is that I was right all along, and that because of COVID, CSK didn't end up winning the IPL. So I was right, everybody. They would have won last year.
Yes.
Naresh, obviously, we talked about the CSK MI match that's coming later today. But Naresh, what's been your thoughts on this Chennai Super Kings surge that's happened this year?
Oh, it has to be the openers. The way they have been giving the start to Chennai, the 100-run partnership. And I wanted to make a point on Ruturaj. He's local here from Pune, where I live. And what little bit I talk to those are from the cricketing fraternity, he can score big. It's T20, but he can score big in any format. And what better than being in the camp where you have Chiteswar Pujara. And the rest of the team is at the fag end of the career. He's the only one whose career is actually starting. So I think he's going to make it big soon in the Indian side, that the question you asked. But yeah, it is the openers who are making a difference, and the way they are utilizing Moeen Ali at number 3. I think that's made a difference. Yes, Suresh Raina is back. He normally used to play at that number 3, but Moeen Ali has been really, really good for them. Yeah, let's see how long they can maintain that consistency, these top 3.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to keep an eye on Chennai Super Kings and see if they can lift the IPL trophy and make it 4 times, trying to play catch up to Mumbai's 5 that they had. Obviously, towards the start of the IPL, it was always Chennai Mumbai, and the kind of little battle that they had between themselves. So that was the story of the show, and now let's see if Chennai can make their comeback. Rishi, your prediction very quickly about the match that's going to happen later today, El Clasico. How do you think you're going to fare against Mumbai Indians?
I think we're going to win the game today, Ashish. To be honest, the Chennai side looks very, very well settled. On the other hand, Mumbai middle order and the lineup that they have looks very vulnerable, and they haven't had a proper win when it comes to the way they've been performing in the previous season. So I think Chennai has a slight edge over Mumbai Indians going today.
Let's have a super over, Rishi, and then let Bumrah decide.
I mean, if cricket was to be decided in a super over, I think England would still had to, they should have played another super over to decide that World Cup final. But I think it's 2020, so we leave it to that, and hopefully we won't get to a super over today.
Yeah, and hopefully we won't have to have a boundary count now. Of course, but the Bharat Army is partnering with the British Asian Trust and for our Just India campaign. And we've got some good news, everybody. While this show has been on the air, we have passed £20,000. So thank you very much, everybody, for donating. Keep sharing, keep donating, and we will get through this pandemic sooner rather than later, I'm sure. And of course, in closing, everybody out there in India who is listening, take care. Obviously, you know, we still know that it's a very difficult time in India at the moment. Stay safe, stay home. If you're going out, wear a mask, wash your hands, do everything that the guidelines are telling you to do, and we will overcome this pandemic. And that's all we have time for, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. We're off to watch El Clasico now, everybody, and you know, get our popcorn ready, or maybe because it's El Clasico, we'll get some tapas ready, and you know, have some nice Spanish tapas while we watch Chennai Super Kings versus Mumbai Indians. Thank you very much, everybody. Hit us up on our social medias at the Bharat Army, and we will see you on next week's roundup. Peace and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Aashish.